Have you ever had that experience where you make a firm, conscious decision to move forward? You tell your partner, I forgive you. You tell yourself, I'm putting this in the past. But then like 2 hours later, you see a notification on a phone, or you see someone flirting on TV, and suddenly like your heart's pounding. Your palms are sweaty. You feel that familiar white-hot flash of panic or rage even.
It's one of the most discouraging moments in recovery. You end up feeling like you're never going to get over this betrayal. And you think, maybe I didn't actually forgive them when I thought I did. Or maybe I'm just too crazy to come back from this. It's bent me somehow. You start to doubt your own ability to heal because your rational brain knows the betraying has stopped, but your body's saying, this is happening right now. I feel like I'm in it.
Today, we're going to explain exactly why that happens. So we're diving into the clinical reality of why you cannot willpower or even forgive your way out of betrayal trauma. So we're going to look at why your brain literally cannot process forgiveness until your nervous system feels safe.
And if you stay with us until the end of the conversation, we're going to share the one technique we use with clients to help cool down that amygdala hijack in the middle of the brain when it happens, so you can stop feeling like a prisoner to your own triggers. Yes, we're going to tell you how to get to that forgiveness stage, but we're going to have to look at the minefield you need to cross to get there. So let us help you navigate through that.
So Caleb, I want to start with like the direct answer we often give clients who are like frustrated by their lack of progress.
Okay.
So we have to draw an honest line between forgiveness and healing. And in our field, we see people use these terms interchangeably, but they're worlds apart in terms of like what they require from the person.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. So think about it this way. Like if I have a broken leg, I can forgive the person who tripped me, but that doesn't mean I can start walking right away on that broken leg. The bone is still broken. And betrayal is like a compound fracture of the psyche. Forgiveness is usually a cognitive top-down decision. Yes, there's an emotional component, but it happens in the prefrontal cortex, the logical thinking part of your brain. But betrayal trauma, like that is a biological survival response that comes from a much deeper part of the brain, a separate area.
Yeah, that's such a vital distinction. Like forgiveness is often directed outward toward the person who hurt you. It's about releasing a debt. But healing is directed inward. It's about restoring the self. And when you're betrayed by someone you share a life with, your brain registers that as a threat to your very survival. You aren't just upset. Your internal alarm system has been triggered.
Yeah. And that alarm system, the amygdala, does not speak the language of forgiveness. It only speaks the language of safety. So you can tell your amygdala all day. I mean, you can't really, but if you could tell it all day long that you've chosen to forgive. But if it still senses a threat, it's going to keep the sirens blaring. And that's why we say healing has to be bottom up. You have to settle the more internal, survival-oriented parts of your brain before you can settle the thinking, cognitive parts of your mind.
Exactly. Like we sometimes see people try to use forgiveness as a shortcut to bypass the pain.
And why not?
That's what we all...
Sincere effort.
Yeah. Nobody wants to sit through the pain if they don't have to.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you want to jump to the end of the book because the middle chapters are too hard to read. But if you try to forgive before you've healed the trauma, you're essentially trying to build a house on sand. Like it might look okay for a minute, but the foundation isn't there to hold it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 So let's talk about the neurobiology of this. When the betrayal is discovered, it isn't just a bad day. It is an assumptive world collapse. And everything you thought you knew about your past, your present, your future is suddenly up for debate. So, Caleb, what is actually happening in the brain during this moment of discovery?
Well, during the moment of discovery, it's like a total system overload, like severe overwhelm. It's too much, too soon, too quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the amygdala, which is the tiny almond-shaped part of the brain responsible for threat detection, that goes into overdrive. It triggers the sympathetic nervous system. Your body is flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone, and adrenaline. your heart rate increases, your digestion slows down, and your thinking brain, this prefrontal cortex, actually loses some of its blood flow. It goes offline.
And that's what we call like the amygdala hijack.
Yeah.
In this state, you aren't thinking about moral frameworks or long-term relationship goals. Like you're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode. Your brain is acting as if it needs to save your life. And so this is why betrayal trauma memories are so different. They aren't stored as a cohesive narrative with a beginning, a middle, and an end. They're stored as like raw sensory data, smells, sounds, images. It's this open loop that feels like it can't be closed. Yeah. So it keeps playing.
Spinning.
Yeah.
Because they're stored that way, it spins or it stays hot. While you're triggered, your brain doesn't think, I'm remembering a thing that happened last year. It actually thinks this is happening right now. And that's why you can be in the grocery store, even a number of weeks away from discovery, and see a person who maybe bears an echo of an affair partner, and suddenly like you feel like that betrayal happened like 5 minutes ago and you're in it right now. This is your body re-experiencing the traumatic affect or the traumatic emotions in real time.
And that explains why your decision to forgive doesn't stop the triggers. Like you can't talk your amygdala out of a survival response. Forgiveness doesn't disarm triggers. You have to show the amygdala that it's safe through actions and stabilization over time. So the amygdala is like a smoke detector. Like if there's smoke in the house, you don't tell the smoke detector to forgive the toaster. You have to put out the fire, clear the air, and maybe change the way you make toast.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
So I think we also need to address what forgiveness is not, because there's so many unhelpful ideas out there that keep people stuck in shame.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the biggest problems is that people think forgiveness equals reconciliation. People think if I forgive, then I have to stay with this person who's betrayed me so severely. Or if they forgive, they have to go back to exactly the way things were. And of course, that's terrifying.
Yeah. It's like I'm accepting the behavior if I forgive it.
If I forgive, yeah. And it's simply not true that has to be the result of forgiveness. You can forgive someone from across the street, like from a distance. You can forgive someone.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you have to be right in there with them necessarily. You can forgive when you're ready to, and then separately reconcile or consider whether you even want to reconcile when you're ready to reconcile. So forgiveness is separate. It's distinct. It is for your freedom. It's not necessarily for their access to you. Right? Am I making that clear? So you can forgive with boundaries. It doesn't mean an erasure of boundaries or that you can't have safety around you. So you can forgive and hold the safety and hold boundaries.
Okay, what you said was so powerful there. Forgiveness is for your freedom. What was the second part of that?
Not for their access.
Yes, forgiveness is for your freedom, not for their access. Yeah, I like that.
It's because sometimes it gets cast like, okay, you need to forgive this person and let them back in.
Yeah, it's like forgive and move on or go back to everything as normal.
And maybe you do want to do that, but those things don't have to happen in the same moment.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the person's choice if they want them to happen in the same moment.
There's
a lot of freedom.
Yeah. Consider the case where you have betrayal trauma, you've separated, and the addict is still in denial and continuing their behaviors, or the affair is still going on.
That's not safe to reconcile.
No, but you can take the forgiveness as a way to relieve yourself of the emotional burden of carrying so much resentment for what is happening, but still absolutely hold hard boundaries that there's no way that I'm entertaining re-entering this relationship as long as I'm competing with someone else.
Yeah.
That's healthy, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's viable. That's really viable, right?
Yeah.
So that's forgiving with boundaries.
Okay. Another thing I've heard people talk about is like, but if I forgive, then I'm condoning their behavior.
Right.
And so I think I want to clarify that. Like, forgiveness is not condoning the behavior. It's not saying it's okay you did that. It's saying I'm choosing to release the weight of this resentment because it's burning me, not you.
Yeah.
And another big one is the idea that forgiveness is a one-time event. Like in betrayal recovery, forgiveness is often a daily decision, sometimes an hourly one.
Some days.
Right? Like you might have to re-forgive the same event as you have new emotional realizations around it, and you begin to integrate the fragmented traumatic memories and details.
Yeah. This is not like the kind of forgiveness that usually gets preached at church, where like someone cuts you off in traffic and you have to like stop hating that person within 5 minutes.
Yeah. This is
so much more complex.
This is like forgiving the impact that it's had on you. The hurt that it's had. And sometimes it's like we have to feel that and acknowledge it and release it and forgive it. And then the next thing pops up.
Yeah.
And so it's not like a slam dunk, oh, forgiven, we're good to go.
Yeah. So you're probably gathering that we don't think that forgiving equals forgetting. Yeah. That's actually dangerous in trauma recovery. Your brain's job is actually to remember where you got hurt so it can protect you from getting there again. Mm-hmm. That's normal. That's healthy. Forgetting a betrayal would actually be a failure of your survival system or of your brain's built-in natural defense systems, like operating like they're designed to operate. True forgiveness acknowledges the reality of what happened, and it holds the memory. It acknowledges all of that pain and knows that the pain occurred, that the hurt happened, but chooses to change the emotional relationship to that memory. So we want you to keep the memory part as internal wisdom that you can use to alert or protect yourself in the future, but from a place of groundedness, not from a place of being triggered, from being active in your trauma. Instead, the learning becomes installed as like a grounded wisdom and intuition that only protects you from actual danger, not from triggers that don't represent current danger. There's a difference between those two things.
The trigger and the reality.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we also pause for a second and address the hurry up culture?
Yeah.
We see partners, friends, sometimes pastors, even some therapists who pressure people to just forgive and let go or move on. But if you move on before you've integrated the truth about your own pain, you're just living in a state of denial. Like that isn't forgiveness. It's really just like dissociation from reality. Real healing requires looking directly at the wound, seeing all of the pain in and around it, cleaning it, and letting it heal over at its own pace.
Yeah. So good. Important distinction.
Yeah. So how do we actually start that healing? So we use a 3-stage framework, and stage 1 is all about safety and stabilization. So do you want to go into that for us?
Yeah, let's jump into that. So because you cannot do deep trauma work if you're still being traumatized, you have to get the safety stuff in place first. Like imagine trying to perform delicate reconstructive surgery on someone while they're still in the middle of a car accident, still in the car. No, you have to get them out of the wreckage first, get them out of the crisis, stabilize them in a safe environment. So in stage 1, we are focused on regulating the nervous system. We're going to be talking about things like grounding exercises, even like sleep, nutrition, physical safety. In the context of a big betrayal, it's amazing how like all the basic self-care stuff just falls off because this thing is like such a bombshell in your life.
Yeah. And this is also where boundaries come in. So boundaries are not about controlling the other person. They're about protecting your own peace and safety. So if you're still being lied to, or if there's no transparency, your amygdala will never calm down, or it will never find rest. But it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's staying on alert because the threat is still present. You cannot resolve betrayal trauma while you're still being betrayed.
Yeah. Tough but real. That's truth. Yeah. But assuming that has stopped, in this stage, we also teach then grounding techniques. So some of our therapists help clients identify their glimmers as well, those small moments of safety or beauty or calm to help balance out the triggers, because it's easy just to focus on all the horrible things that are happening. Grounding and gratitude for other parts of your life, maybe the way people have stepped in to support, the children that are around you, or your sister or brother, or being a comfort to you, whatever those are, a good friend. We want to catch those moments, and we're not using that to ignore the bad, but just to make sure that in your life, you're telling the whole story of what you're experiencing right now, which includes this terrible, profound tragedy and breach of trust and everything here. And includes like, there's still some things that are pure and beautiful and wholesome that are a part of my life. And grounding yourself in that is just a way of helping you stabilize after a profound event. We're not asking you to take that good stuff and just make yourself feel all better yet, or to act like things are normal or back to normal, but just inviting you amidst the storm to find moments of relief. Like, can you sit in a warm bath with a candle and your favorite book and just have like a 45-minute break, for example, things like that.
So if you're the betraying partner, like if you're the partner who committed the betrayal, your job in stage 1 is to be the safe harbor, to provide the transparency and consistency that allows their nervous system to eventually lower its guard. If you're defensive or secretive during this stage, you're essentially pouring gasoline on the fire. If you're continuing to disclose or trickle out information about the betrayal, you're continuing to traumatize your partner, which makes healing impossible. So that safe harbor is your job as the betraying person. And then once the world stops spinning and the nervous system is a bit more stable, we move into stage 2, which is processing, integration, and grief. So this is the stage where the assumptive world that has been destroyed by the betrayal has to be rebuilt.
And this is a heavy lifting phase. It's where we look at the narrative of the betrayal. We ask, what happened? What does this mean about my life? Both the life I thought I had and the life I hoped to yet have, like all of those dreams that have been shattered. And this is where the intense grief lives. You're grieving the loss of the relationship that you thought you had. You're grieving the person you thought your partner was, the model of them that you held in your mind. And even if you stay together, that old relationship is mortally wounded. You have to mourn it, often before a new one can be rebuilt, if that's what you choose.
And I think people underestimate the amount of anger that comes up here. In many circles, anger is seen as unforgiving. You haven't forgiven yet. But in stage 2, anger is actually a healthy sign of self-advocacy. Like, it's your heart saying, I didn't deserve this. And you have to process that anger before you can ever get to a place of genuine peace. Sometimes that anger is what we call primary anger, which is about like the injustice of it all. And sometimes it is a raging protector that wants to make sure you never get hurt like this again. Other times, were you going to add something?
No.
Okay, like other times, anger is a cloak for deep grief and hurt and pain. And either way, like whatever the anger might be saying, like we want to walk with you through that anger to the other side, not avoid it. Inevitably, behind it all is grief.
And research shows that when we try to bypass this grief, we often end up with what is called complicated grief, which can linger for years. This is one of those cases where you have to go through the valley or back through the storm that you're trying to get away from in order to get to the other side. And part of this is integrating that whole betrayal event into your life story. It's not like a separate bad chapter that we want to rip out of the book and dispose of. It's part of the book now. But we also don't want it to be the rest of the book. Where it's one massive betrayal chapter. We want it to be a finite chapter that's there, that exists, but it's not the one in which the rest of your life is written or contained. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So just as a side here, if you're relating to this, we'd love to connect with you in the comments. So if you're comfortable, tell us, like, have you felt that pressure to just forgive before you felt safe? Where did it come from? How did you make space to focus on healing and trust that forgiveness would come when you were ready? Like, seeing how many other people are in the same boat can be so incredibly validating for people.
So true.
Yeah. So finally, we reach stage 3, which is reconnection and post-traumatic growth. So this is the stage everyone wants to skip to. but it only works if you've done the first 2 stages.
Yeah. Stage 3 is where you start to look toward the future and you're building a new assumptive world, a new real world, and you're deciding what you want your life to look like now with the knowledge of what has happened. And this is where post-traumatic growth occurs. The idea that you can actually emerge from trauma with more resilience, with deeper empathy and stronger boundaries than you had before you went into that.
Yeah, this is also where genuine forgiveness often shows up. It arrives not as a demand, but as a byproduct of healing. You realize one day that you haven't thought about the betrayal in a few hours. Or you realize that the anger doesn't have that same bite that it used to. You're finally in a place where your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala are on the same page.
And reconnection can mean many things here. It might mean reconnecting with your partner in a new, more honest way. Or it might mean reconnecting with your own sense of self-worth and moving forward alone. Either way, you're no longer defined by the betrayal. You've integrated it and you're living from a place of choice rather than a place of survival.
Mm-hmm. I think an important thing to mention here is that stage 3 is not necessarily the end.
Yeah.
You might still have triggers. You might have days where you slip back into stage 2 for a bit. But the difference is that you now have the tools to handle it. You know that a trigger isn't a sign that you've failed. It's just a sign that you're human.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, we have to talk a little bit more about the external pressure to forgive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Society, and unfortunately even some faith communities, can be very hard on betrayed partners. There's this subtle message that if you haven't gotten over it in a few months, you're, being bitter or unforgiving.
Yeah. And a lot of this pressure happens, especially if you're in a church context, and we are by no means anti-church. We love our own church community here that we are a part of. But we realize that many believers, or sometimes just family members, don't recognize the deep, difficult work involved with betrayal recovery because they haven't been there. When we get told to forgive too soon, that's really just a form of spiritual or emotional bypassing. Maybe people want you to be better because your pain makes them uncomfortable or they don't know how to help. And in that helplessness, they just think, well, if you could forgive, then this would be better. Or they want the situation to be resolved because, that sense of incompetence for that, and they don't know how to hold space for the messiness of it, and it's just hard for them. And we don't want to use that to excuse their behavior, but for yourself to know that you can't rush a thorough healing process. You wouldn't tell someone with a 3rd-degree burn to just stop peeling after a week, right? So it does require time.
Yeah. I think some of it can come out of a genuine, desire for good.
They want you to be better.
They want you to feel better.
They're sad for your pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want you to feel well and whole and healed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But one of the most empowering things you can do is learn to set boundaries with those well-meaning but unhelpful people. You might say, I appreciate your concern, but my healing is following a deeper, more thorough process, and I'm not rushing it. I'll do my forgiveness work when I know I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
It's okay to protect your healing environment from people who want to microwave a process that actually requires a slow cooker.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this just reflects society now. We're in such a quick,
it's
instant.
Take Tylenol, right? Pain relief.
Yeah.
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 Take forgiveness. Move on.
Take 2 forgiveness and call me in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite work that way.
Yeah. And if you're in a faith community that is pushing you towards a forgive and forget mentality, just remember that true reconciliation requires repentance and fruits of change as well. When I work with betrayers, I keep telling them that trust is built by reliable behavior over time. Nothing else. So forgiveness is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. Even the most ancient spiritual traditions understood that restoration was not an overnight event. It's a rigorous process built on truth and time. And in preparing for this show today, I learned that St. Basil, I don't know, St. Basil, one of the early church fathers, actually established a specific 7 to 15-year timeline
Really?
that he had laid out for betrayers to prove their repentance and rebuild trust within the community. Now, that's probably a longer time than we have today.
Yeah.
But it's all I'm trying to draw from this is, especially if you're in a Christian community where there's this pressure to do this quickly, it's very Christian and it's part of ancient Christian tradition to recognize that this is a long and difficult road. It's a long and difficult road. So St. Basil the Great understood that the restoration of a safe relationship requires a long-term, observable commitment to the truth. It's not Christian to rush forgiveness. It's just bad advice at the very least, or it's evidence of spiritual abuse at the worst. That's what I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. So be gentle with yourself. Like if you're struggling with unsuccessful forgiveness, it's not because you're a bad person. It's because your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's trying to keep you safe. And healing is the path to safety. And once you're safe, forgiveness will take care of itself.
Yeah. And if you...
Yeah, that's making it sound like it's an automatic thing that'll happen, like whatever. It still is. It's still a decision.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. That's all I want to say.
It's both cognitive and emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. You're so smart. Okay.
Thanks. If you feel stuck in that cycle of triggers and like you've failed at your attempts at forgiveness and would like help, we want you to know that there is a way forward if you just need someone else to help sit with you in that space and help you navigate it. You can visit us at therapivo.com to learn more about our trauma counseling for betrayal recovery that we provide over secure Zoom video calls. We've also placed a link in the pinned comment below where you can book a free, low-pressure, 20-minute phone consultation. We'd love to help you build that foundation of safety so that your healing can really get a strong beginning in your life.
And thank you for spending this time with us, taking the time to understand your own brain and your own heart. This is how we normalize therapy.